When was the last time that you made a decision without asking 5 other people what you should do first? Hello, and welcome back to Cozy with Chelsea, a podcast to nourish your mind, body, and soul. I am Chelsea, your host. Now, before we start today's episode, I do want to mention our sponsor, which is Brew. It is a magnesium supplement. I use the hot cocoa version, and I just take a scoop, mix it into steamed almond milk, and that's my hot cocoa for the night. It's a healthy way to get a good night's sleep. They also have gummies if you're not into the hot cocoa vibe. So if you want to, I'll link Brew in the show notes, and I have a code, which is Cozy with Chelsea, and that will get you 15% off. Okay, back to the episode. So when's the last time that you had a large decision or you had a dilemma, and before you even sat with it for 5 minutes, you screenshotted a text or sent a text to 3 of your friends and waited for their opinion first? Now, this is not a flaw, but it is a pattern, and most of us were trained into it. And to be honest, when we are sending that text saying, should I quit my job? Or is this outfit too much? To be honest, we usually aren't actually looking for advice, and you might not even know that consciously. It might be subconscious. But usually what we're looking for is risk mitigation, meaning if I send this to somebody and they agree with me, or they're on board with my decision and it goes wrong, then it's not my fault. So instead of if I decide something and I'm wrong, it's, oh, my friend also agreed with me, and so I'm not crazy and it's not my problem and it's not my fault. But really, if you're not able to allow yourself to be wrong, it actually has a deeper meaning, which is that perhaps you're uncomfortable with trusting yourself. Every time that you pull the audience before checking in with yourself, you are really telling your subconscious that you are not a reliable narrator of your own life. So today's episode is not about becoming like unbothered and isolated and never asking for help, but it is about becoming anchored into yourself, into your power, your divine intuition, and still you can allow yourself to be warm and sovereign. So I want to talk about the Trinity here, which today, what the Trinity means are 3 different aspects of decision making from a rooted intuitive space. Okay. So the first one is intuition. And intuition is really the input, right? It's the signal that your body receives. It's that inner nudge. And honestly, if you're unfamiliar with your intuition, I would really recommend looking into it. And I have some suggestions for intuition work in practice, but it can show up in different ways, right? So something you might have experienced is you're presented with a situation and you just like feel no immediately. And you're feeling that before your brain can even come up with a thought. That is your intuition, that feeling, that knowingness. For example, if I'm invited to, I don't know, let's say like a really loud concert for someone that, you can hardly get me to a concert anyways, but if it's somebody I definitely don't want to see, my body immediately is like, no, thank you. I would much rather be home eating soup. It could also be relief when you cancel, like if you had plans and you cancel and you feel so good, perhaps that's because you didn't really want to go. Where sometimes I'll cancel and I'm upset because I really wanted to go, right? So these are all kind of like indications. And it's really just that feeling and that knowingness, right? Now, if intuition is the input, inner authority is the action. So this is like the decision maker. This is you actually deciding something and doing something about it. It's the action. And authority is not necessarily certainty. Authority is the willingness to choose something even if you don't have all of the information, which is very important when it comes to decision making and why we sometimes override our intuition, because you might have a hit. You might know this option feels really good and this one doesn't. But the option that feels really good, I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. You don't have to know all of that before making an action. And that's where the inner authority comes in. Inner authority is, okay, if this feels good, then I'm going to choose it and then I'm going to own it. Okay, and then the third one that we have here is sovereignty. And to me, sovereignty is just a complete state of being. And it's a state of being where you are in total self-governance. Meaning, you are the queen, king, controller of your own life, right? You are no longer the child of your parents' expectations, your friends' opinions of you, or what society thinks you should be. Sovereignty is complete radical ownership of yourself. And again, sovereignty doesn't mean that you're mean or you're cold or any of that. It's just standing in your own truth. And when you are in this state of sovereignty, this total self-governance, you're not leaking energy, right? We're not leaking energy because we're not explaining ourselves to people who don't get it, or really honestly shouldn't even have an opinion or a vote in our life. These all work together, these three different pieces, right? The intuition is what tells you the truth, tells you yeses, tells you nos. It's a feeling, a knowingness. Authority, your inner authority, is you making the call, you making a decision in alignment with your intuition. And sovereignty is where we are holding the line. Sovereignty is the state of being when you are in alignment with your intuition and you are making decisions based on your own inner authority. And that, my dear, is the Trinity of an aligned life. And honestly, asking permission does feel like the safer option. And there's a lot of reasons for this, right? Because it's part of our survival and evolution that we want to be liked. Being liked means you're safe. Being liked means you're part of the tribe. You're part of the community. So if you're scared of not being liked, that can really prevent you from standing in your own sovereignty. Agreement can feel like protection. If your friends say, oh yeah, no, you shouldn't go on a date, or you should go on a date with this guy, or it's okay that he said this to you, or you should quit your job, or no, you should keep your job, or whatever that opinion is, it can make you feel protected, right? So it's like, okay, if I think this and everybody else thinks this, then that's the right thing to think. Instead of, okay, what is actually true for me in this situation? Because a lot of things can be true for a lot of different people in a lot of different times of their life. There might be somebody else in that exact role who has an entirely different perspective than you and thinks that they should quit or that they should stay, but they're a different person in a different reality with a different perspective. However, borrowed confidence expires quickly. If you are constantly borrowing confidence from your friends, if you're relying on external validation to allow you to make a decision or act on something, it is not a sustainable practice, because then every time you're making a decision, you are relying on somebody else. You're never moving from a place of intuition, inner authority, and sovereignty. Now, there is a real cost to permission seeking. And I want to talk about this because this is more than just like, obviously, yes, we want to live in alignment. We want to make decisions based on our intuition and our inner authority. However, we also need to think about, okay, if we're going to continue to outsource our own intuition, then what is the cost here? Because there is a cost. So the first one that I have is that you are outsourcing your self-trust. Like if you need a general consensus to act on anything in your life, you will always be late to your own life. If instead you can make a decision quickly based on your own truth, then you are on time. Maybe you're early. The second one that I have is that you are building a nervous system that is addicted to reassurance. Just like anything else in our life, humans, we love patterns. We love repetition. We love repeated behaviors, right? So if you are constantly teaching your nervous system that you require reassurance in order to feel safe, then it is going to keep seeking that reassurance. You get the relief, you feel better, but then it fades, and then you need more relief again. So at first, it may be uncomfortable to truly make decisions from your inner authority. However, in the long run, you will no longer be addicted to other people's opinions. The other cost here is that you lose intimacy with yourself, meaning you stop knowing what you want because you stop practicing wanting. You want that intimacy with yourself. You want to know what you really value, what you really want in your life, so that you can act in accordance with those desires. So I want to give some real examples of where we leak sovereignty. And some of these are small and some of these are large. So if I can make this a little bit more real for you, I think a really great example is choosing where to eat. Because is this not like so common, especially in women? If someone asks you, what do you want for dinner or where do you want to eat? Always just defaulting to like, I'm down for whatever, or anything sounds good, when really you know that you just want Thai food or you want sushi. And what's underneath this often is like a fear of being, I don't know, picky, inconvenient, a problem, a hassle, when really, wanting something is not a crime. You are allowed to want sushi. That is okay. So, if you could practice saying that preference without an apology, even if you're in a group of people, what does everyone want for dinner? Oh, I'm really craving Thai food. That's it. Okay, another very common one is the outfit poll. Oh my God, I did this so much, right? Like any event I had, I was sending tons of pictures of me in an outfit. And again, I am not saying that you can never send an outfit to someone again. However, let's examine how often we are doing this and what's really behind it, right? Because, and this is so funny, I think everyone can relate to this, especially you'll notice too the different reactions you get. So like if I send an outfit to my mom, perhaps, very different response than sending to my best friend and then sending it to somebody else, right? So it's like I will get all different responses, and it's because, they are different people with their own opinions and their own likes and dislikes. The more important thing here, the sovereign way to view this, is to think, okay, do I feel like myself in this? Does this outfit feel like me? Am I comfortable in it? Am I happy in it? Do I feel good in it? Those are all better indicators if something's actually meant for you or not. And committing to it, right? Like, for example, when I got married, oh my God, if anyone can relate to choosing your wedding dress and the amount of opinions that you would get. I went to 5 different bridal stores. I had all different people with me. And again, it's not that they did anything wrong. They were just sharing their opinion, but all of them had different tastes. And I would have one friend say that this dress looked good on me, but my mom didn't like it. Or my brother liked this dress and my other friend didn't like that one. So eventually what I ended up doing is I realized very quickly, this is not the process for me. And this is not providing me with joy. And so I went online, found the exact dress I wanted, and ordered it. And that was the end of that. Very simple way to get your wedding dress. So my point is, if you're asking for practical feedback, great. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's different than asking for permission. And then dating is such a big one. Now, this is a little bit nuanced because if we have like a specific attachment style or we have certain patterns, then I don't think it's the worst thing ever to ask for advice. Also, maybe asking for advice from a therapist or a coach versus a friend. But my point is, it's a little bit nuanced. However, if you come home from a great date, like you had a great time, but a friend says, oh, that's a red flag, that's a red flag, that's a red flag. We want to make sure that we're not outsourcing discernment. Again, that can feel safer sometimes than just deciding on your own if you thought the date went well and you liked the person you went on the date with. Now, to give you a nuanced example of this, when I was first dating my husband, I was actually very unsure at times because I have had some bad experiences in the past. And honestly, my biggest concern was how nice he was. So I was very worried that there was something lurking because of how great he was. And I would share that with friends. And if you have a friend who has perhaps like a similar experience, they might add or contribute to that fear that maybe there is something wrong here. Now, I had another friend who has a history of healthier relationships, and she would tell me, no, Chelsea, this is a good thing that he's nice. So again, my point is different reactions from different people. Ultimately, in that relationship, I had to decide if it felt good to me. Because guess what? I'm the one in the relationship. They are not in the relationship. They're not experiencing. They're only hearing my point of view, my stories. We're getting back to what is our intuition telling us? And are we making decisions based on our inner authority? Another just tip, or I guess piece of advice I would give you here is it's okay to not talk about everything when you're first dating someone. You do not have to share every piece of information. If you want to, and that feels good to you, great. But if you want to keep your cards a little bit closer to your vest, that's okay too. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about how this actually does feel in your body when you are making a decision from a sovereign place versus more of like a people-pleasing or permission-seeking place. I have a previous podcast episode about how to get in touch with and make decisions based on your intuition. So I'll link that so that you can listen to that as well. But I want to talk through just kind of really quickly the physical sensations and the difference in how you're feeling. So when you have like a permission seeking or people pleasing yes, right? So you might be saying yes, but if you're saying yes and feeling tightness in your throat, or you're feeling kind of like a rushed, wired feeling, or you're feeling heavy in your chest, or a smile that doesn't really feel real, we've all been there, or you feel like you're paying a debt, like you feel like you owe someone something, that is a people pleasing yes, okay? A sovereign yes would feel quiet, solid, grounded, right? And even if it's scary, it still feels clean, if that makes sense. Seeking permission or looking for a gold star is kind of that like child energy, where seeking alignment is sovereign energy. Now, here are some actual questions you could ask yourself the next time you're presented with a decision. The first one that I have is, if I could not ask anyone's opinion about this, what would I do? So just sit with that one for a minute. That first one is allowing yourself to tap in to that inner authority, okay? The second one is, if I didn't have to explain myself, what would I choose? As I was saying that, I have a decision that I'm trying to make, and I immediately heard the answer. But that second question is what's allowing you to access your intuition, right? So we're not second guessing, we're not overthinking, we're not analyzing. We're just going, okay, if I'm not explaining myself and doing a pros and cons list, what am I choosing? Interesting. Okay, I'm going to give you a few ways to practice building your sovereignty muscle. Okay. So my first level here is get rid of the phrase, I don't care. Get rid, or I don't know. I don't care and I don't know don't belong here. Okay? You'll start to notice how often you say I don't care or I don't know once you really start paying attention. Now, this is for like smaller decisions. Okay? So it's like, what do you want for dinner? I don't care. I don't know. Instead, we're going to go with I'd love some sushi. Or my vote would be Mexican. Or, I could do Thai or Chinese, or I could go for a burger, right? We're going to just pick things that actually sound good to us. Can you imagine doing such a thing? Okay, second level here is making let's say a medium-sized decision without telling one single person. Can you do it? If you're making a purchase, if you're making a weekend plan, if you're setting a boundary with somebody, if you're creating an offer in your business, we're not going to tell anyone and we're just going to decide on our own. You are proving to yourself that your opinion is enough. Okay, and then my last level here, level 3, is having a decision-making ritual. Now, I've shared this before, and I do this all the time. So all you have to do is think of the decision that you want to make. Then you're going to drop into your body. You're going to take a few slow breaths, and you're going to ask your higher self, what is the decision that I want to make here? What is the decision that will align with my higher self? And then just wait for the answer. And if you can really build that practice and tap into that on a regular basis, I can promise you that your entire life will change. Before we end today's episode, I will share what is making me cozy this week. And it would be that I actually went to an event last weekend. There is a girl who does these Sunday yoga community events. And so we went to a park and did yoga, and then there was a coffee pop-up after, and I actually had to run to something else, but the girls sit around and talk after the yoga, and I just thought it was so great to have such a way to kind of like connect with the community, get outside, do something that feels good, and obviously get some coffee. I thought that was really wonderful, and I am looking to do it again, but that is making me cozy this week. So just remember, you are the main character of your life. You are the author of your own experience. Stop requiring other people to co-sign your joy, okay? Go out there and be the sovereign ruler of your own life. I know you can do it. Stay cozy, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye.